Hi there! I am so excited to welcome you to the very first episode of Business Unearthed. Business Unearthed is a subsidiary of Diamond Unearthed, which is all about catering to the whole businesswoman. And you know what makes me that much more excited is the fact that we are recording in Maung. And of course, Maung is a place that my soul loves. And this is where we get to sit down with phenomenal business women and talk all things business and talk about just the holistic woman and talk about how every single element of her life actually informs her life as a businesswoman, because we cannot separate who we are. The very word individual means indivisible. You cannot divide us into different parts, but all these elements of us actually make up one being. And we want the businesswoman to be whole. We want her to bring her whole self to life so that she can be the best businesswoman that there is. And I am over the moon about who gets to be the first guest on Business Unearthed. I have already introduced myself, Nompendula Shabangu, and with that being said, I believe it is only fair that each person introduces themselves, also because I don't want to leave anything out. So let me say hi to this beautiful lady next to me. How are you?
I'm good, Nompendula. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing and, being the pioneer that you always are, being the very first guest on Business Unearthed. How does that make you feel?
Oh, I'm so honored. I'm so honored. It's my pleasure to be here.
We're the ones who are honored. So you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you once again. Hi there, viewer. My name is Gaekgone Lesego, but you can call me Ms. G. I am a purpose-oriented woman from Maung. I was born and raised in Maung. I am also a guitarist. I'm a singer. I love music. I'm an award-winning musician. And then I'm also a designer.
Oh, yes, you are.
A business lady. Yeah, I think that's what I can say for now about myself.
Just can you quickly run us through the different instruments that you play and that you are learning to play as well?
Okay, actually it's not a lot. I am just playing a guitar and a little bit of a keyboard, and the other ones I can't mention yet.
I'm gonna say it.
Actually, I do play bass also, but I'm just the basics. But the other one I wouldn't mention. Please don't mention it for now.
All right, I'll keep it mum. Also because we're here for another reason. You talked about being a businesswoman, so let's talk about that, because that is a journey. That is something that has been taken place for a few number of years now, and it's a sort of new element to you. Let's talk about that. Tell me about your business.
Okay, I think before we get to that, let's just run a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll start by saying that I hold a degree in computer systems engineering.
A designer.
I know.
Who's a musician. Who's an IT specialist. Okay, let's hear how this goes.
I hold a degree in computer system engineering, and then when I finished school, I was coming to Maung for festive.
Okay.
And I was the plan to go back, of course, and I have been in Maung ever since.
How?
I actually never packed and came and traveled back to.
That was it.
Yeah, because I found a job in this amazing organization, and I have been working for this organization for 7 years, 4 months.
Yes.
And then when I decided to venture into something else, I decided that at that point I cannot be looking for a job, because I've always wanted to run businesses for myself. So I thought that was an opportunity for me to do something that I want to do with my life. So I started pursuing the journey of entrepreneurship, and I went to school to learn to do designs. Actually, before I say that, I had forgotten that I wanted to do designs. Literally, I think because of I was so comfortable working, I was reminded when I looked at my book that, what, I wanted to do this.
Oh, wow.
And I really experienced the power of when the Bible says, though it tarries, write down the vision
and make it plain.
Yeah, I had totally forgotten. And let me also say, the reason for me to go to school, I decided to do that because I didn't want to just wake up and find that it's 8 o'clock and it's 9 o'clock and I'm not doing anything with my life. So I was like, I need something that will keep me waking up in the morning.
Wow.
So that was going to school. But then while we were at it, I was like, wait, I had wanted to do this for so long. The book is right
incredible.
here.
How did you feel when you had that realization?
I was blown away. I was blown away, and I was like, wow, look at this. When the Bible says, write down the vision, though it tarries, like I've testified the power of that Bible verse. Yeah, so, and then I decided to go to school. And then I finished, and it was actually during the time of COVID. I remember the very first time, because I was just still fresh in school. During the lockdown, it wasn't the lockdown, because then it would seem like I was traveling, walking around.
You're afraid people will come and be like, I saw your video.
Yeah, and then somebody whom I knew requested me to do a shirt for him.
Okay.
And I had never done a shirt in my life. I was like, God. Help me, but it wasn't that bad because there's somebody who I knew, and I think it wouldn't be that bad. And for the very first time, as my mentor usually says, she says University of YouTube. That was my school. I literally learned how to do the shirt for the first time through YouTube videos. And then I continued with school, and then after that I decided to register a clothing line, which is called Prestige. And now we are at about maybe, I think we're 3 years now running the business. So Prestige is basically just a clothing line for women. And we do products for women, and we do accessories, and we do home products. So basically that's it about the business.
Beautiful. Prestige. What a very beautiful and prestigious name. How did you come to deciding that? Or did you just buy a company that was already existing, a shelf company? How did you come across Prestige or decide on Prestige?
I just sat there and I was like, what could be a nice name? And then I just looked for names that goes with something elegant, and just look for the synonyms. And then I was like, Prestige. Actually, at first I wanted something that would also put in the word black in there as black people, and just to identify that this is a black owned business. And then I just ended up with the help of a friend. I ended up deciding just to keep it at Prestige. But then I decided that instead of having the G, I will have the outline of the map of Africa. And it's very interesting because everybody who reads, there's no G, but they always say Prestige. So I was just looking for something that will be elegant, so just to show that our work is a work of excellence and elegance and quality.
This was well thought out. I mean, I've seen your logo, and it's very beautiful.
Thank you so
it's
much.
quite captivating. I cannot help but obviously realize the fact that you started your business in the midst of COVID. What was that like?
It was really a quite interesting experience, because first of all, you're wondering how are things going to turn out from here, and at the same time you know that you have to do something about it. And I think, like, for me, the fact that I had to sit in the house and do something, and I was compelled at some point to do a shirt for somebody, even though it was not a good experience at all, there's some things that some good things that came out of it, because now you had time to think about your life, to really I remember it was around that time where, because I've been thinking about doing a vision board for myself for so long. I actually did that during the COVID time. So you had a lot of time to reflect and to really strategize about the things that I want for my future. So it was
Took advantage of it in a good way.
Of that.
All right. What would you say inspired you and motivated you to start your business?
Okay. There's really a gap when it comes to getting ready-made African print clothes in Botswana. I remember I went to Ghana some years ago, and for the first time I got in a store, and I was so fascinated by a lot of clothes that were made with beautiful African print and different designs, the same way you get in any local clothing store here, but it was just African print. And the clutch bags, I was like, wow. Then I got back here, I was like, in Botswana, when you want clothes, you have to go to a tailor, and they have a pile of work waiting for them.
It's a process.
And in most cases, I'm sure other people can testify, you always have to wait up until the last minute, you know. And I think because of that, African print is not easily accessible, and it's only associated with special events, especially weddings, you know. But I think for something that we identify ourselves with, it shouldn't be hard to find. And I think for that reason, I remember hearing a statement that says Westernization does not translate to modernization. You know, just because it says we're trying to be modern doesn't mean we have to change who we are as a people. So I think there's a gap. You know, I think we need to embrace who we are as a people. Not to say wear African print all the time, but whenever you want it, you should just be easily able to find shorts in a store.
Yeah, just walk in and find my skirts, my dress, without having to go through the long process of choosing fabric and then
So I think for me it's mostly about our identity, who we are, and that is why our tagline is owning our story.
Come on now.
We have to own our story. You own our story by who you are, like how you dress. You're owning who you are as an African, you know. So basically that was the whole inspiration behind it.
That's beautiful. I love stories, and I love, you know, just when people take us back, because stories are so powerful and they unite us, and they give you good context. You know, one of the things that I have come to learn is that it's best to have this mindset of problem solving when you're going into business. So what are some of the problems that you believe Prestige solves and addresses?
I think it's basically what we just mentioned, that we're making it easily accessible for women to find African print clothes. And also, like I said, also with just we are just owning our stories as Africans. We are not letting the modernization to change who we are. We're just keeping our story. We are maintaining who we are through our attire. I believe that.
That's very beautiful. I love it so much. We've already mentioned that you started your business right in the thick of COVID, and that was around, when was it? Which year was it?
Maybe about 3 or 3 years. 3 years back.
Okay. So it was right in the thick of COVID, and so I can imagine some of the challenges you face, you know, but what are some of the most prominent ones that come to your mind that you have faced, the challenges you've faced so far being in business? Because I can imagine the work that you do is passion tied in with having to make a profit. So there is the reality of, yes, I like what I'm doing, but I also need to be able to make money, right? And now you have to shift that mindset of not being an employee anymore. Now you're an employer. Now you're a business owner. You know, what are some of the challenges that you have come across?
The challenges that I have come across, I would say, put it this way, I wish that I knew about sales when I started the business, you know, because you're excited that you're going to produce some products, but at the end of the day, you have to make them, and they have to be bought by customers, you know. So I would say that is that, because then I realized, oh man, as much as we're busy producing, we have to also be busy out there selling our products, you know. So I think that's one of the main challenges, and now that means you have to also bring in people to do sales, you know. So I think for me that's one of the main challenges, which we have found ways how to deal with it. It's still something that we're working on, but I would say that is something that maybe I was a bit oblivious about, but now since I'm in business, I'm like, okay, we really need to work on this area now.
Beautiful. And so what are some of the, you know, because I know it's not always all gloom and doom, what are some of the highlights that you've had as a businesswoman and through your business?
The highlights are that, actually, it's funny when I do these things, like I never think about this other exciting things that happen.
And they're there though, you know, and it's good for us to gain perspective and to give thanks.
The highlights was Mascom is a network company in Botswana. They normally have a big event here every year. So when they come, they really just do some things to improve the lives of the people here.
Mascom Derby.
Yes.
Right?
So and then I got to be be one of the designers for the Mascom Derby fashion show that
Wow.
happens here. Yeah, it was really nice, you know, looking at the models rocking those prestige
Come on
outfits,
now.
and that the presenters from the radios mentioning prestige, ladies and gentlemen. I was like,
You're
oh,
like,
that
wow,
is
the
nice.
manifestation of a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really highlight for me. And then the other one, actually, that happened recently. There's a team of people that came from New York. There's from a magazine. So they basically came here to do a shooting of Rona Mamongre Babisa Marokara.
Oh yeah, those cool guys.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, they were doing a shooting. So they just they brought a pile of clothes. So and they were gonna go back with those clothes. So they just needed for the shooting. They wanted, if in case they need anything to be altered,
Okay.
then they needed to design somebody to take care of that. So my company was the one that was taking care of that.
Come
so that was
on now.
a huge thing for us.
Wow, for a
You know.
magazine. Is it out now? Is it like, can we see it somewhere?
I
Want to
am
see your
here
work.
to make a follow-up. The lady said she will keep me updated. I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna have to check.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
really
much.
are making quite the strides. And like I'm saying that, you know, in as much as it gets hard, it's very important for us to also look back and see that, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I'm on the right track. I think I'm on the right track. Just through the work that you've been able to do as a business owner, and even in the particular business that you're doing, what are some lessons that you feel you have harvested along the way?
The very first one that comes to my mind is that because as the business grows, you get to work with people, and we all know working with people can be challenging.
Yes, yeah.
It takes out the best and the worst in you.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have learned that, especially maybe when it's trying to take the worst out of you, that you just gotta hold it in, that don't talk when you have feelings of anger, because it may not come out right.
Yeah.
So I've learned that just don't say anything and don't let it out, just keep on, and then you will talk when you're calm.
Okay.
And then the way you talk, it's just reflect, like make it a reflection to the person you're talking to, so they can see their mistakes.
Okay.
You know, it shouldn't be like you're pointing, so they also can be able to see and correct their mistakes. So I've learned to just hold my emotions like that and not to speak when I'm angry.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the first thing. And the other thing that I've learned is that it's okay to question my dreams.
Okay.
Because, you know, when you start something, you have a plan, this is what I'm going to do, and this is number 1, number 2, this is phase 1, this is phase 7.
Yeah.
You know, and then you are still at phase 2, and you're like, is this phase 2? Is this okay? Because I came to a point where I was like, am I really spending this money properly? And I was shocked. I was like, I'm asking myself this question. I can't be asking myself this question, you know, because it's something that I know for sure that I want to do. And then actually reached out to one of my mentors, and he said, it's okay to question your dreams, you know, that happens, and tomorrow you wake up and you carry on. So it really made me feel better. So I've learned that it's okay to question the things that you want to do, but it just be one of the bad days, and you wake up tomorrow and you carry on.
And the thing you talked about is emotional intelligence, and you know, that's one of the things that it's such a buzz phrase and a buzzword right now, even in companies, absolutely everywhere, because you know, I've seen how sometimes people can just say, now this is how I am, you know, people must just get used to, and you can get away with certain things maybe in a family setting, and people know, no, G is someone who loses her temper, but in business you can't do that.
Especially also imagine dealing with customers and you just, you know, say it all. I remember I read a magazine. I can mention also one of the magazine that you published.
Yes, Diamond.
There's a statement I don't forget that said you don't have to say all that is in your head. I was like, really?
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that was a statement I'll never forget.
It's
That
a
just
game
because
changer.
something is in your head, you don't have to just spit it all out. You know,
Yeah.
I've learned that you can just hold some things in. You know, so imagine now dealing with a customer and you have to just spill things out. So then the customer is gone for good.
Yeah.
You know, so emotional intelligence is really, really important.
You know, I've heard you mentioning mentors as we're talking. You know, what role has mentorship played in your life? what has having mentors done for you in your life and in your business?
I think first of all, the fact that I am venturing into business and I don't have experience, they know better. They have walked this path, so they can direct me better. And besides that, also, I think I remember my mentor the other time saying to me, learn to calm down. You know, like I think she was giving an example in case of a customer, because it can cripple a new business owner. You know, when the customer shows that they are very displeased about your service, you may sit down and wonder, oh my God, am I even supposed to be here? So I remember my mentor telling me, just learn to calm down. You know, so that was also helping me professionally and also helping me personally into building my character and how to behave professionally. And then it also helps you, like I was saying, I mentioned earlier on that I came to a point where I was questioning the things that I want to do. They just made me realize that, you know what you're going, and she actually likes saying this, everything that you're going through, even the people who are making billions and millions now, they still go through the same thing. Just that it's a different level. You might be starting and making maybe just a few thousand, but everybody goes through the same thing. You know, so they help both professionally and business-wise.
Comforting, to have someone who has walked the journey and say, you're not experiencing anything that other people have not. This is normal.
Otherwise, you would think, I can't do this. I'm the only one who's going through this. But then you realize, oh, okay, I'm not alone. And then you can keep on.
Earlier on, you mentioned that you wish that you knew about sales and that you had done a bit more research, you know, and so knowing what you know now, you know, what are some of the things that you can advise, you know, maybe someone who, not necessarily even in design, just anyone who's in business when it comes to sales, because we all have to do sales, you know, so what are some of the things that you have learned that you can be able to share with the next person who's in business?
I like that you mentioned that we will all have to do sales. I had to get a book that teaches about sale, and the author says exactly that you every day you're trying to sell something, you know, so we're all salesperson. First of all, let's get that right. So I learned that, and then at some point I had to be active and go and market my business. I remember I actually asked the lady I worked with to also do a research, and then we sat in the office and try to just get ready. It was really I was so nervous to go to people's office and say, hi, my name is this is what I come with. Like, how am I going to do that in a way that they won't chase me away? You know, so I had to do a little bit of research, and then I learned about cold calls. And then I came up with something, and I just give it a name, cold walk-ins. I decided, okay, you know what, let's just go to first listing the safari companies. Let's go to the safari companies and just introduce ourselves and say, this is who we are, this is what we do. Can we leave a business card? So we did that, and I think what I've learned, what I can share, is that they say when you go there, you can just go. You don't have to show that we're here to advertise our products. You know, just come and say and just greet, and just it can be like you're just coming in as a customer, and then just then we introduce yourself, and then, you know, not going obviously as if we're going to market ourselves, you know. So I've learned that you can just really keep it as neutral as possible. So we did that, and then it actually went well with every company that we went to, you know, so it was like so good. It was a good experience. After you experience it, you're like, okay, I can do this. Let's go. What's the next company? I can do this. Because Botswana are actually very friendly people. I appreciate that. So we did, and then left our business card, and then we say, oh, by the way, we would love to send a flyer. Would you mind to give us your email address so we can do that? So so it wasn't that as bad as I thought. So I would say the main thing is not to really share off, just get out of your comfort zone and do what you gotta do. And you're lucky that I know some people can be mean at times, but you can't let that make you to sit back and just give up altogether.
When you talk about comfort zone, I can imagine being a businesswoman is just all about stepping out of your comfort zone, you know, and just being comfortable in your discomfort. Basically, that's what it is. Would you say that, you know, some of those calls that you made, have they yielded any fruit, or you just went and knocked and dropped your business cards and that was it?
They have. Actually, some partners like, are we really going to get any customers? I mean, any potential people who are going to use our services? And then while I'd sort of like forgotten about it, we got some calls from some of the companies. And actually, I think a few months ago, we had to do about 50 drawstring bags for one of the local safari companies. You know, yeah, they've really bear fruits. And I think the fact that also a person knows that as prestige, next time they see it, they're like, oh, I know this. You know, it's not like somebody was saying, that's it about sales. You just, people see it's branding. You know, next time they'll know I've seen this somewhere. So that on itself, though we may not see any results now, it still speaks volume because somebody will remember. Yeah.
All right, and lastly, what would you say are maybe some of your future plans for Prestige? I know there's Prestige Home, there's, you know, those different, what are some of the things that you are able to share with us that you hope to see through your business?
I will really, as I've said, the gap that I have noticed, I really would love to see more stores owned by Botswana and also filled with just regular casual clothes, African print, like just have an option. I know some people are not really into African print, but some do, you know, just easily get short pants or a crop top that is already made, you know. So I think I would love to see that happening the same way I saw in Ghana, and I know other Western countries, they do have that. I would really love to see that. And I would really love to see more products, you know, like knitted clothes and handcrafted things, our stores filled with those products made by Botswana and Botswana. So the goal, and I know this is something that can really be done by most of the designers. It's said that most of the designers in this country, all they have to do is custom clothes and uniforms, and the clothes are from abroad. You know, I would really love us as designers in Botswana to fill the stores and Botswana buying our products, because it's actually very funny at times when even for me as a designer, when I've designed something, it's like, oh, this is nice, it looks like it's from a store.
You take your own breath away. You're kind of,
and you feel like it's from a store because all you're used to is nice things that are from the store. We forget that these things are made by people out there, because we when we grew up, that's all, we just get them from the store. So I would like it to be very normal for a person to see something and maybe remember that I know my mom or my uncle, they designed this, you know. It shouldn't be something that is like, oh, it's just from the store, you know. You don't know about the process of being it done, seeing it being processed and coming into a final product. So I think as the Prestige, that is the goal. That's something that I would really love to venture into, and hope to also see other designers improving their lifestyles and those around them by, you know, doing a mass production of clothes.
Wow, a girl with big dreams, you know. Beautiful things do come from Maung, and I just want to say thank you so much for being the very first guest on Business Unearthed. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for your time and for all the nuggets that you have shared with us. You know, I really appreciate your time. And I want to say congratulations for keeping on. I know it's not that easy. They say we need to get to a 5-year mark, right? Yes, get to a 5-year mark. I can't wait to see where you're going to be in 5 years' time.
Pass that mark.
I can't wait. And just looking back and seeing how far you've come. So congratulations on your wins. You're doing well. And I think you can take this opportunity just to let the viewer know where they can access your stuff, how they can get in touch, etc.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure.
And yeah, you can check our page on Facebook. It's Prestige. Prestige with there's no G. There's just an outline of the continent of Africa. That's how you'd notice it. And there's also Prestige Home. And then on Instagram is Prestige Botswana, and on TikTok is Prestige Botswana. And I can mention the WhatsApp number.
Yeah, sure. Your contact details, email. How do people get
and on WhatsApp, you can. Our number is +267 76825 835.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. G. I look forward to having you again. 2 years from now when you have reached the 5-year mark, so that we can reflect and see how far we have come.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And that was the very first installment, very first episode of Business Unearthed. I hope that you enjoyed it. Do remember to like, subscribe, and also leave a comment if you have any questions, if there are any topics that you wish to delve into as someone who is either in business or is wanting to go into business, things that you want to find out, because we are walking this journey alongside one another, and I cannot wait to see where it's going to take us, but we're going together. And so, like I've already said, my name is Nompendulo Shabangu, and let's see each other again next time.